Hello and welcome to Regen, the e-racing podcast. I am your host Dino, and joining me once again, a man who is also watching Drive to Survive, like we all are, let's face it, it's Chris Soulsby.
Hi Dino, how are you doing?
Good. It has been a busy week, a very busy week with work, but Drive to Survive when I'm not at work. But yes, can't complain. Marrakesh was a brilliant race, and looking forward to chatting about it.
Yeah, it was a good one, wasn't it? It was quite different to what we've seen in recent races, but it was nice. It was a nice, different race to what we're used to, so that's always good.
Yeah. I mean, no safety cars, so we saw some pure racing out there.
Yeah, it was always it's always a plus, isn't it? I mean, we like the accidents. Well, we don't like accidents, but we like the drama in Formula E. But yeah, it was a nice change.
No worries. Okay, media of the week. There's only one thing that we're going to talk about, obviously, and that is Drive to Survive. So, a few things about it. We won't go into spoilers, but I mean, it was last season's Formula One, so if you haven't seen it, well, you should just binge it now. Stop the recording, binge it now, and then you'll be up to date and you can hear about it with us. So, it isn't electric racing related, but Formula One, they do have hybrids now, and so there is a battery that they can charge up and use to deploy to overtake, which is very cool. This series made me like Red Bull a lot less, and then a lot more. It was a bit of a roller coaster.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I think how they treated Pierre Gasly, not great. I feel like he probably needed an arm around him a bit more, but at that level, maybe that's not how the teams operate. I don't know. So it was interesting. A great tribute to Antoine as well. Was shown in the series, and they didn't show too much on the accident itself, but may he rest in peace. And I also enjoyed that Ferrari was in this one because and Gunther. Gunther's always a star. It's just a great series, yeah.
Yeah, it was. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I haven't finished watching it yet when we're recording, but yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed from what I've seen so far. I think I've seen the first 6 episodes, and it is very, very good. They delve into the whole rich energy Haas situation, Mercedes at the German Grand Prix, and I do agree with you with the Red Bull point, especially about Pierre Gasly, because this poor guy, okay, he goes through everything under the sun, and it's the pressure of it. I think there's a scene in the Monaco race, and Horner goes to him. He goes, "Make sure it comes back in one piece, okay?" Oh, the pressure, right? How can you deal with that?
And the first drive, Alex Albon gets in the car. Horner goes to him. It's all good, there's no expectation, just go out. Yeah, I mean, Alex Albon, a complete rookie. It's his rookie season, and does a fantastic job. And obviously Gasly, something wasn't meshing with the car, got back to Toro Rosso, got the podium. I mean, there had to be something that just didn't go right, or didn't quite fit, because he is a rapid driver. There's no denying that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure he's got, millions of fans out there that would agree with me. What do you think went wrong with that team? Because it doesn't really make sense. Like, he shouldn't be too far away from Max Verstappen,
Mm-hmm.
even though he's an absolute superstar.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be that far away, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, Pierre Gasly is a rapid driver. He's immensely talented. He won GP2. Normally drivers get to win GP2. Formula 2 now, obviously. He was the last champion of GP2 before Charles Leclerc. George Russell followed that, and obviously Nick De Vries after that as well. Pierre Gasly is fast. He's immensely talented. And when he was at Toro Rosso 2018, he delivered. It was very good. But at Red Bull, something didn't quite mesh, like he said. And I think the issue was it's Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen's the problem here. I think when you're Max Verstappen's teammate, I think he would have this mindset of I have to beat him or I have to match him. And it's bloody difficult to match, let alone beat Max Verstappen, let's face it. And I think because of that pressure and that feeling of pressure, Gasly overcomplicated things, thought too much into it, and probably damaged himself in that way. Personally, I would have gone in thinking, no expectations, do what I can, do my best, and the best that I can do is the best that I can do, quite simply. And it's as soon as you start feeling that pressure and feel the heat and go, oh my god, I'm not beating Max. I think that's when the mistakes come in, because you push harder and push too hard and then make stupid mistakes, quite honestly, and that's what Gasly was doing, especially in Germany. That little error he had here.
It is a tough one. Mercedes, I thought, didn't get a lot of airtime. I don't think Bottas got a lot of airtime. Which, being a Bottas fan, that's gutting. But he's, if he was the world champion, I'm sure he would have got a lot more. So he needs to step it up. And obviously, there were a few other teams that really didn't get much of a showing. Alfa Romeo for one. Kimi got a piece right at the end where he's like, he gets asked, are you going to be around for 2021 or something like that? And he says, I don't know, we'll see. It's sort of like a hobby to me. He wasn't too fussed. It was really funny.
It's classic Kimi, isn't it? It's so typical. Like, what?
But, I mean, he must be enjoying that drive at Alfa Romeo because, Ferrari with all the expectation, and it was quite clear in the series that Charles Leclerc was, on the outside doing a really good job with media and everything, but it looked like it was a real fight on the inside.
Yeah, I haven't seen that episode yet, but I can imagine that being the case because you've got a young gun threatening the veteran, the man whose team it is essentially, so I can't wait to watch that. I think it's the next episode I've got to watch.
Yeah, and also the Williams episode, that is George Russell is fun and says all the right things, but he is brutal. So you'll enjoy that one as well.
Yeah, I can't wait. The thing is, watching the Williams one, I think a small part of my heart will break. Because people who know me know that I'm at heart a Williams guy. And yeah, it's very sad, isn't it? Oh, can't cope with it.
It is.
I mean, let's put it this way, the grid positions gained is always positive at the end of every race. At least we're making inroads and not losing them.
Yeah, as long as they can race this season.
Thinking. Yeah, exactly. That's the main thing. See what happens,
Yeah.
It's going to be an absolute corker.
So I'm just going to drop this on you. I want the first 3 finishes in Formula 1 for 2020.
Lewis Hamilton. The man, the myth, the legend that is Valtteri Bottas, because he won't beat Hamilton.
It's not very nice. He is great.
And the GOAT, Nicholas Latifi. I'm joking. Max Verstappen.
Oh, Nicholas Latifi.
Do the same.
I do think Nicholas Latifi will get at least 1 point this season, but I am going, obviously, the man, not Bottas, Lewis Hamilton, and then Verstappen, and then Bottas. So I do think Bottas will he'll go okay, but Verstappen is he just seems to be getting better and better, and another season with Red Bull, Honda is making gains. We saw it last year, and so that is my prediction for the season. But for Melbourne, I'm actually going for a Max Verstappen win.
Who are you? Oh, that's ambitious. I think it'll be Lewis.
Yep, I'm going to Maxi win, then Lewis, and then Albon.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's it. See, I think Mercedes are going to be. I think Mercedes are going to be the best they've ever been this season. I'm going to put it out there. Yeah. Ambitious, I know, but been reading too many headlines.
Alrighty, so that concludes Media of the Week, and now Marrakesh into qualifying. And firstly, we have to talk about the Kiwi Mitch Evans and Jaguar not getting across the line in time. How much of an error could this be for the championship? I can't even. Oh my god! I can't even believe that's happened now.
I was watching it, and my hands were genuinely in my head. Were in my hands. Was in my hands. It was heartbreaking. Like, it's, the pace that Mitch has had this season has been fantastic. He's been on it, and one small timing error put him in 24th. Like, and it was the perfect time to capitalise, because you haven't got a group qualifying disadvantage in Marrakesh. It's a semi-permanent facility. It was the time to shine, and they blew it. They blew it by like a tenth of a second or something.
Yeah, I think it was 0.2 something of a second, as the timing lights and the actual official timing are a little bit out. So he didn't make it across the line, but had he would have been straight into Super Pole. Mm-hmm. So he would have been I think he did a 1:17.4.
Yeah.
And Maxi Gunter, who got the point for topping qualification, was a 1:17.562. So
yeah,
I mean, that Jaguar, Mitch Evans, they look just like Sims did at the start of the season, basically.
Yeah, they are looking quick. And you had James Collado as well, who, qualified inside the top 10 for a guy who has no pace over one lap. So that's quite harsh. It's very harsh.
Yeah, very.
But it's encouraging for Jag at this early stage. And I think their strength lies in one lap pace. And whatever they found in between Santiago and Mexico City, it's certainly working, because the pace is there or thereabouts, and I'd say they're certainly in the top three now. Definitely inside the top three.
Yes, they have come leaps and bounds from Santiago. Mitch was very unhappy. Yeah, a look of absolute disdain, and then they've just turned it all around, and Collado getting good results now as well, and I think that'll continue. So yeah, I think the Drivers' Championship, Mitch is suffering a wee bit now, but I reckon he will be back up there. In the Teams' Championship, well, I would probably say, thanks to Mitch mostly, that they're probably on for a top three.
Yeah, I'd say so. Collado's been picking up the points, and not as regularly as Mitch, or in a higher quantity, but I think the race in Marrakesh was just a one-off, wasn't it? And qualifying pace showed the car is quick, the race showed that the car's efficient, and Mitch showed that he's probably one of the best drivers in the grid, which we already knew, quite honestly.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I think we can expect that Mitch will be in the title hunt this year, if they can get the timings right. Yeah, I think it's a goer this season for Jag, definitely, 100%. No, they're set for a strong result.
That's going to be, moving forward, a team to watch. So heading into Super Pole, Maxi Gunter, he gets the point, and with him, Andre Lotterer, Eduardo Mortara, Da Costa, De Vries, and Buemi. So, a little bit different in Superpole. Antonio Felix da Costa taking it out. Maxi Gunter in second, Lotterer third, De Vries, Mortara and Buemi. I think a good job from Buemi, actually, with the Nissan moving to the single MGU. He's done well to haul that car into Superpole. Do you agree, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the car isn't as quick as what we saw last year, but I think under the circumstances with what Nissan have done, I mean, the Nissan car is quite clearly, it's not the best car on the grid, is it? It's positively bang average and in the midfield, maybe towards the front of the midfield though, which is good. But Buemi's a reliable driver, isn't he? He just keeps delivering, keeps giving, and now that he's found his form, I mean, I think we can expect him to be inside the top six and in Superpole in most races because he's a qualifying machine. I think he's the driver with the most poles in Formula E, I believe. Don't quote me. Yeah, it's Buemi. You always know that he's going to be up there. He's a reliable driver. He'll always be there or thereabouts.
Yep. Okay. So Da Costa, that wasn't unexpected. The Cheetahs are looking very fast. So, they're just bounding away as they did eventually through the pack and in the race. But we've got to talk about Jev just quickly, missing the first practice session because of illness. But he was cleared, and obviously, thankfully, it wasn't coronavirus. So he underwent testing. All good. Still looked absolutely terrible in my eyes, to be honest, in and after the race. Yeah. But what a champ for pushing through.
Yeah, he wasn't very well, was Jev. Skipped practice to put James Rossiter in the car, and he looked awful on race day. As nice as that can sound, he looked so unwell. He was coughing, he looked like he had a fever. And yeah, what a trooper! It's a man who doesn't want to. He wants to defend his title at all costs. Huh?
It is.
He's not giving up without a fight this season, and it's great to see. It's really good.
Yeah, there was no quitting. There was no lack of motivation, as we saw, hauling himself through the field, just overtake, starting 11th, making that podium, but. Mitch Evans starting 24th and coming 6th, also getting the fastest lap, so he got an extra point. One of the main things I want to talk about, and we haven't seen it too much, is Antonio Felix da Costa in the lead makes it a little bit difficult for Gunter to get past, but then Gunter goes around the outside, and it sort of felt like it was too easy, and Gunter knew that it was too easy, and Da Costa was basically using him for the slipstream, using him to reserve energy, and then knew he had the goods to get back past. We don't see that too often, but this was a perfect play from Techeetah and Da Costa to get that. Because I think the BMW is quite a bit more efficient than the Techeetah. Would you agree, Chris?
I would say so, yeah. I mean, I think from what we saw in Marrakesh it is, especially in the battle with Verne at the end. But it was a good play from DS Techeetah, wasn't it? And it's something that I can't say I've seen in Formula E before, couldn't think of it. I wonder if it's something that DS Techeetah found in Mexico City, because they had all that team play with Verne and Da Costa, and it was a bit of a mess, really, wasn't it? And I know that Verne was perplexed as to why Da Costa had more energy than him. And it was of course, because Da Costa was using the slipstream to lift off earlier and he could still carry the speed through the corners. So I wonder if this penny has dropped and they've gone, this is a damn good idea right here. Let's abuse BMW. And it worked. So I think we'll see more of that. It worked a treat. Great idea.
It was. I think we're going to need to see Alexander Sims now really start to push and get back up the top, because like any series where there's two drivers in a team, if you have both up the top, Da Costa can no longer do that. So
yeah, exactly.
Da Costa tries that on Gunter. Gunter could just let Sims go past and vanish into the distance, and they're no longer able to do that to BMW. So I think they need to start having two cars up there. Vern eventually making his way up and getting past Maximilian Gunter, but running out of energy on the last lap. Maximilian Gunter sells him the dummy, gets past. What a great move. He's such a great driver. He's come on in strides. If you haven't seen the race, please go back and watch it because it was really good. I think we talked a little bit before, no safety cars. So one of the cleaner races we've seen of late as well.
Yeah, it was a good race, wasn't it? And Max Gunther has, I mean, what you've got to think is this is arguably his first. Well, it is his first ever full Formula E season as well. He did most of the races last year, but you can still call him a part timer. And the move that he did on Vern was one of the best we've seen in Formula E. Quite honestly, it was. Especially from someone so young in Formula E, that overtake, the commitment, he knew exactly what he was doing. He played Vern like a musical instrument. It was great. You know, he sold him the dummy, Vern fell for it, straight up the inside, bosh. Honestly, so exciting. And a high-pressure situation as well. It was at the final lap, I think it was.
It was the final lap, yeah.
And, yeah... Oh man, just biding your time perfectly when he's at his weakest. Exploit it.
It was special.
Priceless. Yeah, it was very special. We're seeing a driver who's grown race by race. He was missing in action in Mexico City, but by God did he come back. It was great. Yeah, it's very, very good. Can't wait to see him for the rest of the season and see what he can do because he's it's turning into a very special year.
It is, absolutely. I think Maximilian Gunter now, he's pulled himself up onto 44 points, just 2 behind his teammate. We'll go through the driver positions. So, Antonio Felix da Costa bags 28 points. He got pole from the weekend. Gunther in second gets the extra point for being top of the groups heading into Super Pole, so 19 points out of it. Vern on 15 gets the podium, 12 for Buemi coming in 4th, and that is a great result. 10 for Mortara, and we did talk about it last time or the time before, that gap is getting larger between him and Massa. It's not going the way of Massa this season.
No, it's not.
Mortara bringing home the goods for Rocket Venturi. Panasonic Jaguar from 24th. Also getting the fastest lap, so 9 points. Lucas Di Grassi, Andre Lotterer, Roland Bird round out the top 10. And then just out of the points, De Vries, who got a penalty. Unfortunate for De Vries, who was running very well. And honestly showed up Stoffel this race.
Yeah, Stoffel was... I don't even know where he was. Was he in Marrakesh? Because he didn't place higher than 15th in any session.
No.
23rd in practice 1, 20th in practice 2, 17th in qualifying, and then 15th in the race, I believe. He was just absent. I think he's at a loss, and Mercedes are at a loss as to why that car was so slow, but he had no confidence driving it at all.
No confidence at all. Robin Freins in 12th. D'Ambrosio started 7th, down to 13th. Daniel Abt, he needed a good race, but started 18th up to 14th. Stoffel 17th up to 15th, and then Collado just went backwards. Massa, Gianni, Hartley, Muller. Those Dragons are struggling as well as Gianni.
They are.
Turvey, that was all that was going to happen there. Pascal Verline, and then Marcin Kwa and Alexander Sims. So Sims DNF on the last lap, heartbreaking because he was in for some points. That allowed Bird to get a point.
Yeah, very, very lucky for Virgin Mind because they've been nowhere in recent races. I think the car itself is fast, but, well, I say that. I don't think the Audi car, the Audi powertrain isn't working. It's it's getting points, but it just isn't delivering the goods. I mean, Degrassi has no pace over 1 lap. Apt isn't doing much. And the customer team, Virgin, I mean, their form from the first race of the season's vanished. I mean, how many points have they taken from the past 2 or 3? Like 2? Better, maybe 3. Barely anything, though. It's been appalling. So, and Neo aren't looking too good. The Dragons are rubbish. Yeah. No, I feel sorry for Mahindra, quite honestly, because they thought they'd turned a corner, and then, Marrakesh is the first race of our season, they said. Wow. The race pace was nowhere.
Yes, it has become a struggle for teams that were dominating and doing well. Obviously, the guys at Mahindra, they always start well, and I don't think they capitalised on the points that were available, especially in the first couple of races. So, well, here are the standings. Antonio Felix da Costa on 67. Mitch Evans with a great recovery. He is down to second, though, on 56 points. Sims on 46. Still third in the championship. Getting nothing for round 3, nothing for round 5. 11 points in round 4. So, Sims having a tough time of it. I've got to say, though, Da Costa is very consistent. The last 3 races have been mega. Maximilian Gunter, 44, 38 for Degrassi, also 38 for Stoffel. Mortara on 32, 31 for Jean-Eric Verne now, 30 for Roland, which is a good effort, actually, from Roland, 29 for Bird. In the past 4 races, he has picked up 3 points.
God.
Not good.
No.
Buemi on 27 and has come alive. Race 4, 15 points. Race 5, 12 points. So he's starting to pick it up. Lotterer, 25 points. 18 for De Vries. Verline on 14. 10 for Freins and Collado. 8 for Daniel Apt. 3 for Jerome D'Ambrosio. Massa on 2 points. Hartley on 2 points. And of course, Turvey, Muller, Jani, and Ma on zip. I don't want to see Apt down there. I don't want to see Massa down there. D'Ambrosio. Freins having a shocker. He's had nothing in the last 4 races. It's just the second driver for a lot of the teams are just nowhere. It's pretty hard to see, actually.
It's been a tricky year. It's very much a 50-50 championship this season, I would call it. You've usually got one car doing very well, and then the second driver struggles. And Nico Muller has had a rough time. Neil Jani hasn't really been anywhere. He hasn't done anything. I wouldn't rule him out, though. Ma, just no. Compared to Turvey's completely cast him in a shadow. Massa's had a difficult run of races. I know he was suffering from braking issues in Marrakesh. And like when you're struggling with braking issues, it just makes the car unpredictable, doesn't it? You're trying to slow down, you might not slow properly, then it impacts your racing line and impacts your confidence. Just really grinds you into the ground. Yeah, a lot of drivers struggling to establish any kind of consistency, really. I mean, look at D'Ambrosio. Did very well last year, won races, but Mahindra so far this year have not been convincing at all. Freins hasn't finished inside the top 10 since November. That's painful.
It's rubbish.
Yeah. It is. It's a lot going on in that second half of the standings.
Yeah, it's it is rough to see these drivers. We know they can do really well. We know what they're capable of, but it's just not happening for one reason or another. And it's really sad. We want them all. We love them all. Apart from Ma, maybe. But yeah, it's hard. And we do wish Ma well. I was just joking,
Yeah.
Because we don't want to see anyone at the back. We want competition. We want them all scoring points.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's some real thought processing going on as to why that's not happening, and also what happened to Stoffel in that race. So Rome will be interesting if it goes ahead. We pray that it does.
It goes ahead,
but
yes. Hope it does.
It'll be interesting to see if they can catch up and put all those things behind them. Hey, Chris.
It's an interesting season in Formula E. It's an interesting year for motorsport in general and the sporting world at present. No one knows what happens next. No one knows when we next race. No one knows how to get there. It will be there. A lot going on, but when the season does resume, wherever that may be, I don't think anyone knows. We've got a good season ahead. It's going to be exciting. People are going to... Yeah, I can't wait to see what else happens this year. We've had 9 different winners now, 9 consecutive races with 9 different winners, which is history making for Formula E. It's a good time for the championship, but the context of it makes it a bit more difficult. So, yeah, wherever the next race will be, bring it on.
It's going to be a good one. Right, so the team standings. Diesta Cheetah, they have propelled themselves from outside the top 3 straight up the top with 98 points, scoring 43 points over this race, which is just,
wow.
That's to be commended.
Yeah,
that is a great recovery from the start of the year. 90 for BMW. They would have probably been back up the top if Sims had finished. So that's unfortunate there. Panasonic Jaguar 66. Nissan somehow on 57. That's great from them. 56 for Mercedes now, not scoring in the last couple. 46 for Audi Sport. Envision on 39, which is surprising. And they only have 3 points in the last 4 races, but still on 39, which shows you how many points they got in race 1. 34 for Venturi. Porsche 25, 17 for Mahindra, which no one expected. Dragon 2 and Neo Zip. Now, Dragon, I predicted that it would be a top 6 finish for them. They are. It doesn't look like they're getting any more points anytime shortly. That's not going well for them, so let's hope that there is a vast improvement going into the next race.
Yeah, it hasn't been good for Dragon. It's been a very tough season. They showed pace in pre-season testing, which was good. Good for them. I remember the conversation we had, will this be the return to form for Dragon after so long at the back? No, it won't be, apparently. 2 points. Very, very disappointing. They've got a world-class driver lineup in Nico Muller and Brendan Hartley, but sadly, it's not convincing, is it? The pace isn't there. There's a lot of teams that, at the back anyway, well, in the second half of the table, and it's a tale of 2 halves, like I said. I mean, look at Porsche. I think you said 25 points, all scored by Lovera. If you get more points from Neil Jani, Porsche goes up. It can make a hell of a lot of difference. It's the same with Venturi. 32 of those, 34 have been scored by Mortara. And it just takes a couple of races, and, a double points finish can really, really change the standings at the moment. I mean, Virgin are still there in 6th, I believe, with 39 points. And they've scored 3 from the past 4. If they were able to replicate that form from the first race of the season, they'd be sailing away by now. It also goes to show how close this championship is. It's so closely contested.
It is a very close championship. So Rocket Venturi on 34. If Massa was performing at the same level, both drivers on 34, that propels them up to 3rd instead of 8th. So it just goes to show, that's a very, very tight championship. Yes, I think it'll all move around again. And let's hope for that point from Neo. Let's hope for that.
Yeah. I hope so. I really do. It would be nice to see.
Okay. An announcement as well. We have been talking with Drillers Esports. So Drillers Esports, they do a couple of different events over the eSIM racing sphere. So the first one, they are in the 2020 Formula Sim Racing Championship. So if you're looking at that, both ACA and Pro races will be broadcasted live on the FSR YouTube channel, so Formula Sim Racing YouTube channel, and we'll put that in the show notes. I think the first race is Malaysia, which is in a couple of days from recording. And they also are in P1 LMS, the Le Mans cars, which is pretty cool. I have recently got a lot more into sim racing, watching it, of course. I have no way of buying a setup, but I do enjoy watching it. And so it was quite cool to get a message from these guys. So that's Drillers Esports, and I will link their socials in the show notes. Give them some love. Our logos will be on their car from the first race, so that's also really cool to have the support from them, cool. And hopefully we can get up the top of the grid.
Yeah, exactly. Great things to come. It's going to be good. It's cool. We have partners.
We have partners, which is great.
We have partners.
Thank you very much.
Very exciting, yeah.
And you will hear a lot more over the course of the sim racing season and through our podcast, and there'll be a bit of content coming on our socials and bits and pieces for them as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Up the drill. Yeah,
exciting stuff. Up the drill.
Thank you also to Huzu Graphics on Twitter for doing the episode artwork, another awesome one. And also Danelle Armour featuring Sarah De Warren Gallery, the great intro music. So thank you, Danelle. He also has a new track coming out, so keep posted. Any final thoughts from you, Chris?
Who was your driver of the day?
Driver of the day, I'm not looking at the show notes. It can only be one man. It has to be the Kiwi, the legend, Mitch Evans, storming through the field and picking up those much needed points for Jaguar and himself for the championship.
Bingo, that's the correct answer, because I agree.
There is only one correct answer, and I'm sure yours is the same, Chris.
There can only be one. Stoffel Van Dole.
No.
Oh, no, Mitch Evans.
Yes, that's the one.
Gained 18 positions. That is the most positions a Formula E driver has gained in a race in the sport's history.
It's a pretty good record to have. I'm not sure it's going to be beaten anytime soon, but you never know. This is Formula E.
No, me neither. Yeah. Maybe Jaguar did it on purpose to go, look how good we are,
right? I doubt that somehow.
I doubt it, but conspiracy theories, right? They're everywhere.
Okay. You can follow us www.regenracingpodcast.com, at Regen Racing on Twitter and on Instagram, Regen E Racing Pod. Thank you very much. We will talk to you again soon.
Goodbye. Oh, we need to do the Italian goodbye. Is it Arrivederci?
I'm not even going to try. Alrighty, see you later.
Au revoir. That's in case of the cancellation.